We are now joined by Mihai Pohontu from Amber. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's always fantastic to be back at Pocket Gamer Connects in London, a conference that I've been attended for many years.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Not just me then. That's good. That's good to hear. Fantastic. Well, we always ask everyone up front just to describe what their company is if people aren't familiar. We haven't spoken to you before, I think. So, what is it that Amber is all about?
Amber is a game development agency. We provide a wide array of services like full game development, co-development, porting, quality assurance, art, localization, and customer support. We're over 1,000 people in 10 different locations around the world. So
Okay.
pretty large agency. And we've also had fantastic track record working with some of the biggest partners in the industry, supporting them and their portfolio of games.
Gotcha. Good to hear. Well, we have to focus on some of the more negative things first. It's been a tough year for gaming in 2023, and it looks like it might be something similar this year. Certainly things like VC spend is looking to be considerably down. We had a lot of good games released last year, but this year maybe not so many being made. As a person involved in that end of it yourself, how is that going to affect your business going forward, do you think, the year?
2023 has been the most difficult year in the history of Amber. We've had successive rounds of team optimizations and focus on operational efficiency. Definitely a tough year, but the good news is that at the start of 2024, we're seeing increased investment in external development. Our pipeline certainly looks healthier than it has been in Q4 of last year. And historically for us, Q1 of any year has been kind of the slowest period of the year. So it's a really good sign that we're seeing increased traction. We have been very blessed in the games industry to not having a cyclical recessionary periods.
Yeah.
So I think last year was the first time where we kind of seen this. 13,000 layoffs were announced formally in the industry. My personal opinion is that the number of layoffs are much larger. Maybe this is just the tip of the iceberg because most companies don't announce their layoffs. And in my estimation, the hardest hit sector has been the indie games, smaller studios. So it could be that the total number of layoffs in games has been 10 times as bigger as those that are formally announced. Not a good year for games in general, but in the sense that creates also opportunities. New business models will be emerging, new studios will be formed during these very lean times. And hopefully this is the start of a really nice period of growth. We emerged from a golden era before 2023, and hopefully a new golden era will start from 2024 onwards.
We are going to be doing a talk at the show tomorrow, I think. That's right, isn't it? What's that going to be about? What's the topic?
Interesting that you ask. It's precisely this, the state of external development in the games industry. What are some of the risks and some of the opportunities, what trends we're seeing in the global market.
Well, speaking of trends, we talked about AI last year at our shows because back then the generative AI thing was just becoming popularized. Now it's entrenched itself, and I think people are starting to tie it to things like the layoffs that have been happening, the more negative side effects. Maybe they are actually coming to pass. For the machine learning that exists already, there's been, most marketing companies use ML in some form or another. In your business, are you already using a lot of ML anyway, and this is just a progression of that? Or do you see that there are benefits to generative AI that maybe don't necessarily cost people their livelihoods? Do you think there's a balance?
Yeah, I truly don't believe that Gen AI has been responsible for this last round of layoffs. I think it's a combination of large firms optimizing for profit and smaller outfits finding it hard to find publishing deals and to find services deals. In the wake of this dearth of investment in the space, and the first time in the history where the industry registered a dip post-pandemic. So I think those are the main culprits. I personally, I'm very bullish on AI. I think it will be part of our lives in very meaningful and pervasive ways. I think what's important for us as game developers is to use AI in an ethical fashion, to make sure, for example, that in art, the original authors are credited and we are using data sets that are free of any sort of legal complications and conundrums. So I think there's a way to do that, and it will simplify development. First of all, programming will become something that will be highly aided by AI. We've seen in generative AI the fact that we can create almost any images. I think in the next couple of years we'll see 3D models and 3D scenes being created in the same way from a prompt. We're already using AI heavily in localization and in testing. It's part of our bots that are, testing for map correctness. It's testing map boundaries. That's the word that I was looking for, and finding bugs, finding crashes. We have used generative AI systems like Midjourney and DALI to help the kind of creative conceptual process, generating images that help illustrate a world. And it's much faster to do this than like drawing it manually. But once we get to a point where we have a vision, an artistic vision, I feel like the human creativity and the human contribution in the process continues to be extremely relevant. I don't see AI as something that will take from games industry jobs, but something that will enhance our work as game developers.
Gotcha. Now, you use the term working within the industry is like finding your way within a black ocean. What do you mean by that? What's the black ocean?
So there's this concept of a red ocean versus a blue ocean, right? Blue ocean is considered an area of innovation, market defining, novel technologies or ideas. And then the red ocean is a highly competitive market where firms are battling for dominance and usually using any advantage like cost or size in order to establish themselves as a top mover in the market. The black ocean is a market that has been red for so long that the carcasses have colored the water black. And the mobile sector is, informally considered to be that. Like, such insane levels of competition is one way to see the industry as a whole. The other way to see it is that it's an area that is apt for truly transformative change. So from this like black ocean, a highly competitive space, like incredibly new ideas can be born. And I'm really looking forward to 2024 as an year that will revolutionize the way we do things in the mobile industry. I think using things like AI, we can make the live operations process a lot more efficient. And also I think that smaller studios leveraging AI systems can achieve results that normally we would ascribe to AAA developers. So this is truly the thing that makes me most excited, is that like relatively small teams intelligently leveraging AI frameworks can create a lot more content, can write a lot more code, and can really deliver much deeper and broader experiences than ever before in the history of game development.
Well, we've seen a lot of crackdown on the way that data is used and handled. Certainly, Apple in their marketplace, they crack down with their TTP stuff. You've got Android doing it a little bit with Google, but also recently China started dropping what can and cannot be bought and paid for within in-app purchases. So no more daily user rewards, things like that. Stuff that's going to potentially change the way that games have to be designed, which means you have to be very reactive, very quick, and nimble to be able to turn on that stuff. As developers, publishers, and things like that, how do you find how quick can you turn on a dime in the current landscape? How fast and agile do you need to be to keep up?
Well, as an independent developer, you need to move very fast and follow the latest trends and explore any niche that has the potential for commercial success. I would say that's much more difficult to do in the context of a larger team with an established product, and therefore that creates an opportunity for new entrants in the space. Also, we're a very interesting inflection point in the industry because on one hand, we've seen in the Google legal decision recently that there is potentially a way to open up the Android market, not make it controlled by Google, allowing other app stores on the platform, which is an interesting proposition. It could really open up the traditional thief of the app stores. It could have reverberations on Apple, even though Apple won a legal decision right before in the Fortnite case, and so that's an interesting development that is worth following because it really could change the parameters of how the industry operates. if we are dealing with open platforms, then some of the limitations that were imposed by Google and Apple on their platforms would obviously go away. At the same time, what I'm seeing that I find quite exciting is that a lot of developers are starting to build cross-platform experiences that monetize outside of the mobile space. So, like, a big theme at this year's conference is web shops. Where you're able to sign up users, they can transact on the web, they can kind of customize their experience on the web, and then they can come to the mobile screen, as it were, to enjoy the game experience itself. So I think we'll see a lot more than that. That's another way to circumscribe the traditional dominance of the first parties in the mobile space. I personally feel that in the long haul, an open platform will do a lot more for creativity and innovation in the space than the current system that is like tightly controlled by the first parties.
I see. And apart from the talk that you've got going on tomorrow, what are you doing at the show? From your perspective, what's the reason you come to these kind of events?
Well, the first and foremost, the reason is to find my friends and say hello. People come to Pocket Gamer Connects from all over the world, and it's really wonderful to reconnect, as the name of the conference implies. But outside of that, it's really just getting the word out. What Amber does, that we are a co-development partner to you. We can help you, build your games faster and more beautifully as well. So finding partners, saying hello to people that may be interested in finding employment in the industry. We're still hiring, so we're looking for smart people to join the team, and of course to have fun in London, the best city in the world.
That's what we'd like to hear. Well, thank you ever so much for talking to us. We look forward to the talk tomorrow.
Cheers.